Well, hello again, all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of George Beer Reviews back at you this afternoon with a special live examination. We're looking at hoppy beers. It could be a lager, an ale, but more specifically, hoppy sessionable type beers. This was Michael's idea, so I'm going to let you lead off. What
Okay,
hoppy beer are you bringing
this
today?
is this is one of I think Founder's highest selling beers of everything they have. It's their all day IPA session ale, which has 4.7% and 42 IBUs. Mine was bottled on 12/26, so it has over about 2 months on it, which shouldn't be any problem for a sessionable thing. And I'm going to pour it.
All right.
Founders, of course, known more, I think, for their KBS and CBS and their stouts, but they've always had Centennial Ale. They've always had this one and several others. That's what it looks like in the glass. A lot of carbonation, full finger, off-white head. Certainly looks good, John. If you want to pour yours, you can too.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pour mine. And so Michael has an IPA, an ale, and I'm going with a lager. And this is like on the top end of sessionable at 6.5%, but very sessionable style, typically the lagers. And this is 65 IBU, so even hoppier than the IPA that you have. And on the pour, it's a little bit darker, I think, than yours. Actually, it's kind of like a deep golden color. Yours is more
Mine is
like
more like mine's more blondish kind of
blonde,
orange.
and mine is more like a deep golden color. Um, some nice bubbles going up the glass as well, and it does have a nice frothy head that you get with most lagers. So,
Do you want me to give my description first?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the nose really is hoppy. So you get right away kind of like a fruitiness and the hops. I'm not sure what hops they use in this, but it certainly probably has some of the typical C type hops, Cascade, Citra, Columbus.
I know they do use Centennial in that. So probably the three C's, the Centennial, the Citra, and the Cascade, I would imagine.
Right. So those are the ones that Founder seems to use. So that's probably what's in here. I'm getting this kind of smell that you would get from a Centennial Ale, but you can tell it's toned down. It's not
Right.
as intense.
Bumpy, I know you're home today. You did a bit. Get a hoppy lager or ale and join us if you want.
Okay. So anyway, I'm going to drink it. Cheers, John.
Cheers, Michael. Same to you, Robert. If you want to join, here I'll tell you what. I'll just post a link. Here, this is last minute, so I know there was no notice for anyone, but there's a
Okay.
link if anybody wants to join. Sorry, go ahead.
For 4.7, this is a really tasty session ale. So a lot of session ales tend to leave you wanting for flavor. This one does not. So they've done a good job in packing the flavor in, and it has mild bitterness with the 42 IBUs. It's more fruity flavor, but there is some citrus in it as well. So it's a combination fruity kind of citrus kind of thing. And I think Centennial must be the main hop they use because it has a lot of the same characteristics as their Centennial Ale. It's like Centennial Light. And there might be some other hops they use. Centennial Ale is a single hop. That's the only one they use. This might have some other C hops in it, but I'll bet you the hop that's featured is the Centennial Ale. Very easy drinking. This could be a beer during the summer, for if you're doing yard work or if you're outside, lawnmower beer. This would be a good beer. Goes down pretty easy. It's giving you enough of the hoppiness in the flavor that if you like an IPA, this would be one that you'd like. I would say the mouthfeel is light. The carbonation, a lot of bubble stream going up. The carbonation is toward the medium side, but probably the high end of the low end of medium anyway. But you'll notice you get some nice lacing on the side so you're getting head retention. But you remember that it was a full finger, and now just shortly after opening it, it's down to just a rim kind of off-white head. But it's going down pretty easy. Why don't you give us a description of yours, John?
Right. Okay. So one interesting thing, I was looking at the side of the label here, and it says, cut through the haze with this crisp, clear IPL, India Pale Lager, harmoniously hopped with Citra and Centennial. So they used the C hops in this beer as well, but Jack's Abbey is known for their lager beers, and it's 6.5%, a little bit higher ABV, and 65 IBUs, so a little bit more bitterness, supposedly, with the IBUs in this one. So with the aromas on this, I'm getting a lot of citrus, almost a slight resinous note like you get with West Coast IPA. And then there's a ton of malt character, which I really like with a standard, either a pale lager or an American adjunct lager. You get a malt presence, a malt sweetness a lot of times on the aroma, whether it's just from the barley malt with a pale lager, or if you're getting some of that corn or that rice adjunct, which provides a little bit of like a sweet aroma with some of your big macro lagers. There's definitely a nice hop presence as well as a nice malt presence with this. None of the alcohol coming through at 6.5%. It smells really good. It almost smells a little bit like some malt liquors that I've had in the past, like where they're really sweet on the aroma. So let's see how it drinks. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to BC. You know what, Bumpy? That's the cutoff, but we'll allow it because it's kind of, if you want to join with your 7.1 hoppy beer, we'll allow it. All right. And cheers to the Whiskey Scout. He says he has a dark ale, no lagers left. And I told him if it was a hoppy ale, then it should qualify. And here's Bumpy.
Hey, Bumpy, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Michael? You're making a run at it.
This is kind of like a hot streak. Audrey's been leaving, so it's been pretty.
Right. Not that I want to jinx your wife or anything, but I hope she leaves more often.
So I'm going to finish my tasting.
I like spontaneous events too. John called me up when he got back from work. I knew I'd have to pick them up, so it had to be sessionable.
Well, he didn't know yesterday when he mentioned it, so we thought
I'm taking time out for a second, guys. I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay, so while he's going to do that, I'll describe really quickly the notes on mine, and then we'll go to you, Bumpy. You can tell us what you're drinking, and go ahead and get into it. So the Hopponius Union, flavor-wise, it's definitely hoppy up front. You're getting some citrus, a little bit of that piney resinous note is coming through, but it's more citrusy than anything, and not grapefruit. It's more of like an orange citrus, maybe even a little bit of lemon in there. It's very malty in the middle of the sip. I kind of joked, well, it's not really a joke. It kind of reminds me in a lot of ways of some of the malt liquors. Like if you take a King Cobra and you dry hop it or something like that, it's kind of got a little bit of that going on, which I really like personally. It doesn't really drink like 65 IBUs though. That's pretty high. It drinks more like 35 or 40 in my opinion. But it's very sessionable, easy drinking. Sessionable as a 6.5 can be. The body is on the medium side, nice carbonation. The finish is crisp, clean, dry, and refreshing. So sessionability wise with that, it increases because of the drying finish. It makes you want to go right back in for another sip. But overall, a great drinking experience, as with all the Jack's Abbey stuff that I've had. I'll keep sipping on it and come back around. Michael should be back with us shortly. But we haven't heard what you have, Bumpy. So what beer are you drinking? Semi-sessionable.
Mother's Day is coming up. I got this beer from Abel Ebenezer Brewing Company. They're out of Merrimack, New Hampshire. This is Pink Boots Society Brew. It's called Ladybug and Newman IPA at 7.1% ABV. The Pink Boots blend for the 5th annual blend of their Pink Boots Society is Idaho Gem HBC 630, Talus, Triumph, and Laurel. So those are all the different hops, and let's just give it a pour.
Yeah.
Can you tell me the name of it again?
If that wasn't so girlish, I'd get that as a tattoo. That's pretty cool can art. Ladybug with a hops bursting out of it.
What was the beer company and the name of the beer again?
Abel Ebenezer Brewing Company.
Okay.
And the name of the beer is called Ladybug.
Okay, I got it. And you said 7.1?
7.1.
Okay.
It's the most sessionable beer that I have.
Okay. Do you know what the IBUs are on it?
They don't state what the IBUs are. Something I'd have to look up.
Well, we'll hope that it's nice and hoppy. Otherwise, I'll just go back and change the name of the show from Hoppy Sessionable Brews to.
Oh, it's a New England IPA. It's hoppy. They're using the.
Oh, it's a New England. Oh, I didn't hear you say. I missed that part.
It's very dark though. This is like an ugly. This is an ugly beer. This would probably actually score lower on my 50-point inspection on the appearance. I'd probably give this like a 4 out of the 6. So
that is an ugly color. It's almost like it's off shade,
oxidized or something.
Muddy water right there.
Muddy brown water. It looks like that that juice monster there that we did. So
maybe it'll taste
head on it. It's kind of a rocky white head. Aromas. It almost smells like it's oxidized too. It's very kind of pungent fruit.
It doesn't. Your reaction isn't very pleasant.
It's like bruised fruit. It's got mango. There's a little bit of a berry action going on. It's like bruised mangoes. It's like mangoes have been in a fight. There's a bit of a passion fruit and berry. I'd say a slight guava. It's like the guava monster or the juice monster that was made with guava and mangoes from the other brewing company there, Liquid Therapy. But that's kind of it.
Let's hope it tastes better.
Yeah. All right. Cheers.
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 So very berry forward on the flavors. Berries right up front. A bit of that overripened, beat up mango. Say a touch of guava in there as well. The berry action kind of circles back around and get more berry on the finish as well. The bitterness on this is very low. It is juicy. It is juicy. It's mostly berry, a little bit of that kind of overripened mango, touch of guava, kind of just bounces around. A little bit of a light bread note out of the malt. It's got a medium carbonation with a medium body. 7.1% ABV. Not tasting any alcohol, thank God. Yeah, it's all right. It's very berry forward. They do mention berries. What else do they say? Citrus. Yeah, not much citrus unless mango is considered a citrus fruit. But
no. But it's funny. Just I titled this Hoppy Sessionable Brews, and yours is 7.1, and I was just thinking like in America anyway. I know it's different, throughout the world, but it seems like in America over the last, I would say, maybe 10 years or so, anything 8% or less, we seem to consider a session brew these days. I don't know if it's that Americans in general are just becoming more alcoholics, or if it's just like I don't know, but I don't know if you guys have noticed a trend with that.
You don't find too many below 6.5% anyways.
Right.
Say.
Yeah. I mean, like honestly, 5%.
Even
like
the IPLs are up there.
You look at anything like anything less than 5% is a light beer now. And if you look at years past, like Budweiser's 5%, PBR is what, 4.8. You got Miller High Life. You've got all of these like regular beers that are less 5% and less. People don't even consider them, standard lagers anymore. They consider them light beers.
This is definitely sessionable compared to the 10% triple IPA I had earlier. So,
or maybe something like something like this,
right?
Like a Dogfish Head,
like a 16-17%.
It seems like the category in craft beer is the ones that are low now are these low cal beers. You've seen them 90 calories, 99.
Yeah, I know 6 Point did one. Dogfish Head has one.
So those are the ones that tend to be lower in ABV these days, but I find those lacking taste.
The market for that is so small. I feel like the breweries are putting them out. They're losing money. They're not making any money, and then you see those beers disappear very quickly off the market.
Yeah, they throw them into a 12-pack, and then they don't get too much acclaim.
Right. Perfect example is Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams, the Sam 76. Right. They could not give that shit away, and they put it in all the variety packs, and I don't even know if they still make it anymore. I haven't seen it.
I think it's now considered discontinued. It's not being made anymore, I think.
Thank God. They did us a favor with that.
I thought it was poor. I thought it was really bad. My all-day IPA, the 42 IBUs, are drinking pretty bitter for 42, I think. I
got to look up the IBUs on this thing.
Do you think that because it's a lower ABV beer and there's maybe a little bit less body, that the hops, the bitterness is coming through more because there's nothing to balance it out?
That's possible, but I've always found this beer to be really tasty, and this one is tasty. There's something in it where the hops are together enough with the 42 IBUs and the 4.7% that maybe the IBUs become more, stronger seeming.
Yeah.
To me, this is a strong 42. I've had 50 IBU IPAs that didn't seem as bitter as this.
Right. And like the one I've got, 65 IBUs, I would say that this is a mild 65. It probably drinks more like a 35 or 40 because of all the malt character, because this is a lager too. With the malt character with this, it's balanced a little bit more. So the 65, that's probably a whole nother examination, but we've talked about this before. The IBUs and the IBU count for these beers, that's why a lot of breweries have gotten away from putting the IBUs on the labels, because it's such a
very subjective from brewery to brewery. Bumpy, is there a difference? Is there a difference when you're brewing a lager or brewing an ale in terms of the IBUs, or can it be considered exactly the same? Because one is ales are brewed, one's top brewed and the other is bottom brewed. And
considering the IBUs, mostly you're looking at the style that you're brewing. So lagers are typically a majority of them are going to be like a lager style. You're not looking to brew an IPA for the most part, unless it's like an IPL with lager yeast. So a lot of the times the lagers are lower IBUs just based off of the style that most lagers end up being. But if you look at like a Baltic Porter, which can be brewed with most of the time lager yeast, sometimes those IBUs are going to be up there because it's like it's almost like an imperial stout for the most part. So
right.
Hello, BC.
Welcome
You,
in.
you can find some nice lagers that are up there in the 40 range.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
We're doing well.
So
Oh,
you are
that's
just
good.
in time. Actually, I was going to say Michael has not yet given his rating. So BC, if you want to tell us what you've got, kind of go through the breakdown of the beer, then we'll all go back around and give our beers ratings here. In a little
Okay.
bit.
I've got Old Fellaine, naughty. Yeah, I know it's a play of words of naughty and naughty, but yeah, this is what I got today.
Oh,
So
Fellaine. Okay.
yeah, Old Fellaine, they're out of St. Louis, Missouri, and this is a 5.3 APV with a 15 IBU. So it's not really all that bitter. It's a lot more sweet than bitter.
That's all right. It's It's going to have some salt in it from the right.
Yeah,
From the,
yeah. I was just gonna talk about that. I was just drinking this and I was like, you know what? Not only is this malty, but this is salty as well. And I was just gonna mention that. Yeah. So I mean, okay, crack goes beer can. So I mean, this ain't my first beer today with this. This is probably like my third. So it looks good. I mean, it is malty like a pretzel. I mean, it really is. That's what it looks like out of the pour. I'm getting almost 2 fingers of head on here out of this. This is a pint can. So this is a pint can. And I mean, you smell it, you smell a pretzel. I swear, it smells like a pretzel. And you get that breadiness off of there, the maltiness from the breadiness off of there. You're getting some saltiness off of there as well. And, as far as taste goes, I mean, some would say this is definitely malty or chewy, depending on who you go by. I mean, I'd definitely say this is malty and chewy as well. This is definitely grainy, as far as like the different style of malts that they use in this. It's a good mouthfeel. It's hearty drinking. I'm actually enjoying this, but then again, I have been a big fan of pretzels. It doesn't matter if they're thick, knotted, soft, hard. It doesn't matter. I like pretzels all the way around. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if they're pretzel bites. I don't care. I like pretzels.
And pretzels are so good with beer. So when you make a pretzel beer, it's like you're just combining two of the best
you're getting the best of both worlds. Yeah.
Right.
So I seen this at the store. I was like, you know what? I haven't had this. This looks good. I love pretzels. I love beers. And the only thing that's really missing out of this is cheese. I'm talking like,
yeah, exactly. I don't know if the cheese would translate well to a beer, but I see what you're. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. As long as you see where I'm coming from on that. Yeah.
So I was going to ask, do you?
BC, what was the name? What was the name of the beer again?
Old Fellaine. Old Fellaine.
Old Fellaine. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's called
Naughty. It's KNOTTY.
Naughty. Yeah, naughty. Okay.
Yeah. So
have you ever had the twisted pretzel wheat from Blue Shock Top, the limited release that they put out every year?
No, I wish I did.
I would be interested because that beer tastes just like a soft pretzel, a jumbo soft pretzel. So I would have been interested to see like the comparison between the two, but that one tastes a lot like a pretzel.
Yeah, this one really tastes like a pretzel. I mean, it's definitely got that mouthfeel like a pretzel sort of set. But when you smell it, oh my goodness, it does smell like a pretzel. When you drink it, you get that good hearty taste or mouthfeel of a pretzel in your mouth with the breadiness, maltiness, and saltiness out of all this. Now you get more of the maltiness out of this than you do the saltiness, but it's almost like bam, bam type of thing where you get the maltiness, then you get the saltiness off of that. And, it's not bad with it being a 5.3 APV. So, I mean, it's really nice. It's really nice. So, I'm really digging this. I'm enjoying it. So, hey, I mean, to me, this beer can't go wrong. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
No, I bet you I would love that because I
I'm
really
gonna
love
say
the twisted pretzel from Shock Top. That one sounds right up my alley. I mean, if you like pretzels, you can't go wrong, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to keep a lookout for that one. Twisted Pretzels
Yeah.
by Shock Top. Yeah.
Shock Top. So it's in there. They put it out. They actually discontinued it for 2 years, and there was such a demand for it. They brought it back this past fall. It's in their fall variety pack. So it's probably not available right now, but I would say starting, like September, October, start looking for it. And if you can get the Shock Top variety pack, it should be in the variety pack.
Okay.
I was looking in my book, and I went back to the 19th of September of last year, and I found something from a local New York brewery, Captain Lawrence, and it's brewed in collaboration with Snyder Pretzels, and it's a pretzel goza.
Oh wow! Which makes sense because the goza, you get a little bit of salt with the gozas anyway.
4.5%, so it's 4.5%, so it's a little bit less than the one that BC is drinking, but it had passion fruit and guava and pretzels together in the taste.
Wow, that's interesting.
So I guess that was part was from the goza and part was from the pretzel.
Right.
Yeah. So
and that beer was gifted to me from Bryce's best friend Jordan.
Okay, so let's see. Thank you, BC. That sounds awesome. Can't wait to hear your rating on that. We're going to go back around now, starting with Michael, and let him give us his final thoughts and ratings on the Founders All Day IPA.
Okay. I have to say I've always been a fan of this beer, and for IPA that's definitely session, it's less than 5%, 4.7, 42 IBUs. It delivers a lot of taste and citrus, and I really like it. So I'm going to give it an A-, but the highest A- I can give, which is like a 91. So I think it's a fine beer, and it's highly recommended.
Okay. I don't think I think I've had the all day IPA once or twice, but I've never sat down and actually given it a review. I need to get on that. Everybody always has very good things to say about that, but most of your session IPAs, or at least in years past, maybe a lot of these breweries are coming a long way with what they're putting out now, but a lot of people complain about the session IPAs as like hop water. The IPA style does not hold up to a light, when you create a light beer like that, because there's just not enough body, and what you end up with is a hop watery experience and not a really good beer drinking experience.
I would give this one a try if you can. I don't know if you can get a single of it, but if you can, give it.
Well, I can definitely get it. It's out. Yeah, it's available everywhere, but I'll give it a try one of these days.
I was about to say,
okay, so
91.
91. Okay. All right. So Bumpy, we got to go back to you with your 7.1%
Sessionable New England IPA. Actually, to be fair, I mean, a lot of New England IPAs now are doubles. You don't find many that are below 8%. So
that's not a double.
It's a sessionable New England IPA.
That is a sessionable New England IPA you can get right there.
So I am picking up a little bit of notes of a bit of like an herbal spicy tone to this as well. Maybe that's kind of coming from that guava type thing, a little guava spice in there. But very berry forward for sure. It's got a mix of berries. Flavor wise, I would probably score this one around like an 85 out of 100, but I'm also going to deduct because of the this thing is gross looking. It's not the worst. It's not the worst appearance ever.
Well, I mean, if it
if
looks
this
strong,
wasn't
but
hazy, if this was
especially
just like
out of the
clear
taste.
and whatever, it'd be even worse probably. But yeah, I'm gonna give this an 83 out of 100.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not memorable. It's I mean, maybe try to remember it to make sure I don't buy it again.
Yeah.
It's
Or bring it over to
it
friend
still
party
kind of
or
lands in
something.
that good category. I would say it's a decent enough brew. I mean, if you like berries in your beer stuff, definitely getting that. Definitely getting some berry notes, and it's a mixed berry. It's not blueberry, but it's definitely got this kind of like raspberry, strawberry type thing going, along with some mango and guava mixture with a little bit of that guava spice on the tail end. Malts are semi sort of there, a little bit on the lighter, like wheat to like light white bread, but yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't send this out to a package or give it to Nelly and say, "Hey, you got to try this."
No, but you know who might appreciate it? Miscellaneous.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I got to give Miscellaneous a hard time. Anyway, okay, so we got an A minus, and we got just get into the solid B, 83, just above a B minus from Bumpy. So somebody's got to bring the average up here, and I'm thinking BC is going to be the guy to do that with his pretzel beer. So what are you thinking, BC, for your?
I mean, with this beer, I mean, you're really getting the grains, and the what they get out of this, or what they use in this, is the malts is pale, special, roast, red wheat, white wheat, and I doubt that I'm pronouncing this right, so forgive me if I pronounce it wrong. It's acid, uh, acidulated.
Acidulated, yeah.
Yeah, acidulated. Now the hops, they've got the German tradition with this beer, and with everything they got with the grains of the malt, you could really taste the pretzel in this. I mean, it seems like they really worked on this one to me. So, I mean, I've got to give this one at least a 90, at least. For as much as I look, I mean, I want to go higher, but
I think you should. It's
you know what? I'm going to give this a 95. I'm going to give this a 95.
All right.
The thing with the acidulated malts there, you're correct with the acid. First off, that's kind of where that comes from. They put acidulated malts instead of having to mess with lactic acids and stuff to lower the pH level of the brew. So
okay.
it's more of like a Reinheitsgebot type thing.
All right. Yeah, but you're definitely getting that maltiness off of this and the saltiness off of this, like you would off a pretzel.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I'm going with 95 on this one.
So awesome. Okay, that sounds awesome, and maybe one of these days I'll be able to find that beer. And the fact that you said it was out of St. Louis, Missouri, makes me hopeful that maybe it's owned by some big brewery, and then maybe the distribution is a little bit better than I don't know.
Well, if not, let me know. Maybe I'll send a couple of beers to your way. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So
I
miscellaneous.
want to correct what I said. It's not lactobacillus. That's a type of
That's
yeast.
a souring.
Lactic acid is what I meant to say.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, Bumpy with his homebrew talk, it's hard to keep up with. So usually when he starts going down that path, I just veg out. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so Miscellaneous is in the chat, and he says the only thing he has is a 6.7. Well, Bumpy is drinking a 7.1. So we are wrapping this up as far as all of us and our reviews. But if you come in here in the next 5 minutes and you want to drink a beer and break it down and give us a quick rating, you're more than welcome to do so. I know you can do it, Miscellaneous. So get on here. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to myself because I think I'm the only one that hasn't given a rating yet. So the Hopponius Union, I'm really digging it. I've been buying this regularly since I moved up to New England. The Jack's Abbey stuff is awesome. I love their lager lineup. And they're cheap. It was like $1. You can buy singles. You can buy 6-packs. This was $1 for the can, which for craft beer these days is pretty good. I'm going to go with a 94 out of 100. It's a pretty solid A. It's hoppy. It's malty. It's I kind of, I made the comment earlier, like King Cobra, like a double dry hopped King Cobra, and it's kind of rings true in a lot of ways because there's a big malt backbone, and then you get the nice the Citra hop action, the Centennial, the Cascade, the nice like easygoing hops without being too bitter. It is 65 IBUs, but it's not presenting as a 65 IBU beer. It's great, and it's about as sessionable as it gets. I mean, 6.5%, not coming through at all. It's crisp and refreshing, and prickly with the carbonation, and drying on the finish. I love it. I love this beer. I love all the Jack's Abbey stuff.
I just reviewed that beer about a week and a half ago, the King Cobra. So maybe 2 weeks ago, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed King Cobra.
I don't know what Miscellaneous is talking about. If he drain poured a 12-pack of the Hopponius Union, if you did that, then I don't think we can be friends anymore, Miscellaneous. That's ridiculous.
He may have, because actually some stores, they put that on the shelf and it sits there forever.
Well, if it's all, okay, so the date on this, the can, they have the canned on dates here. This was canned on February 27th. So if you're getting old cans and this is a hoppy lager, then yeah, I can see why it would be terrible. But if you're drinking it fresh, I don't see how that could be a problem. It was out. He admits, he says it was out of date. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I could see that. Although I could see drinking a 6.5% out of date Hopponius Union, and then it would just taste like a low ABV barley wine. It would
taste like lemon iced tea.
All right, so Miscellaneous says he's just gonna wait. That's fine. I'm gonna post the ratings on the bottom of the screen for anybody that may have joined lately or later. So the lowest score was Bumpy with his 83 for his semi-sessionable beer. Let's see. Today is Wednesday. We've got Wildcard Wednesday, I believe, tonight. Eric's in the chat, so go check him out tonight. I believe it's 7:30 Eastern.
Yeah, 7:30. I think. Isn't Ron doing tonight too?
Ron is also doing one. Miscellaneous is really hating on Jack's Abbey in the chat there. Ron Terrio is also doing, I believe, a Joker's Wild tonight.
I think Tanner is doing a Lagunitas thing at 9.
Tanner, Lagunitas Brewery at 9 o'clock. So Wednesday is always a very busy night for the beer.
Beerman.
Yeah, I mean, I just posted a video today. I mean,
yep. Anything that a loaded baked potato reminds you of.
Okay.
Or that you would drink with a loaded baked potato.
All right. Well, that's easy enough. I would drink anything with a loaded baked potato. So, okay.
John, I have some quick intel if you want to put me on the big screen.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay, so this was the Sierra Nevada brewery when they opened it in Mills River, North Carolina. So on their 10th anniversary of being there, they released this, which is a barrel-aged torpedo. So the normal torpedo is 7.2. This one is 8.6. And I will read what it says. Towering tanks with sleek lines, hand-shaped bourbon barrels, and a final infusion of hop intensity. This is how we're celebrating our decade of Torpedo. To mark its anniversary, we cellared away a fresh batch for months before recharging the mellowed beer in its namesake, the Hop Torpedo. The result, bold, fruity hop flavor and aroma with notes of rich bourbon and vanilla from the oak. Here's to 10 years strong. So it's 10 years on Torpedo itself, since Torpedo was established as one of Sierra Nevada's brand.
Wow.
And Gail, my friend, who you've at least seen on, John has at least seen her, I think, because we did those Zoom ones that we did during the pandemic. Anyway, you've seen her. She has a son who lives in Durham, so she always goes and makes these North Carolina trips. So she brought this back, and I'm anxious to drink it, but it's again one of these 25.4 ounce bottles, and I can't sit down and drink this by myself. So I have to either do it in my group or do it with somebody else. But we'll see what happens. I can definitely see doing it. But for an impromptu one, I thought this one was pretty good. You know, just getting together for a while and discussing stuff.
Michael.
Yes.
So I went out looking for a potato beer today. So I went to I did find a potato beer. It actually says potato on it. Yeah, but I found this is a store I normally don't go to because they're usually overpriced. Look what I found.
Wow, Bourbon County.
2021.
The cherry one.
Oh, so you got one. You got one.
So I got one.
Excellent.
I can't find Bourbon County. Like, it sells so quick. And I went to this place and they had like 7 of them on the shelf. And I was like,
that's wonderful. Now, it's funny. Last night we were discussing this. Miscellaneous has one. Alex has one, I think, too.
I think so.
But this is for the Cherrywood one, right? Because I was going to say I could go right down the street and get a Bourbon County.
Yeah,
right. This is for specific Cherrywood. And it partially came up because the last time I had one of these Monday sessions, Giant Space Monkey brought over the cola one. And I'd never had that one before. And it's weird because the cola taste in a stout, it's something you just don't expect. And it was blind. I didn't know what it was. And you know how when you're doing it, the person who brought it is trying to, let me see if I can read the price.
$24.99.
All right, so the variants go in the low 20s. That's not horrible.
They typically range from like 22 to 25 bucks.
So that's not a horrible price. But anyway, so Giant Space Monkey is questioning us, and he's saying, "Are you getting any kind of soda taste?" He doesn't want to say cola because he doesn't want to give it away. So somebody said root beer, and they came up with some other stuff. And I got the cola. I actually was able to taste it. But again, I had to be baited. I wasn't going to just come up with that specifically. I had to know that there was kind of a soda component, and then I could taste the cola.
I really, of all of the Bourbon County variants over the years, the cola one came out, and if I ever get my hands on that, man, I'm going to be a happy camper because I just feel like that one would be just like the cola notes would just pair so well. I've had some bourbon barrel aged stouts over the years that do kind of present with a little bit of a cola note. So to age a barrel to take something like Bourbon County and age it in a barrel that's had Coca-Cola in it, I mean, that sounds amazing.
Have we ever figured out, and I don't know if I've ever asked Bumpy this, why there's a berry note in a lot of bourbon barrel-aged stouts of all kinds, not just one company. A lot of companies, you seem to get a berry note. I don't know why, but
it's got to be based off the bourbon that's in it. I'm not a bourbon or whiskey drinker, but I've looked at like reviews because I picked up one. And I'm drinking. This is basically me drinking a bourbon or a whiskey, alcohol. But then, so I wanted to see what other people were saying. And they're picking out all these notes like nutmeg and orange slices and chocolate, and berries.
Right.
Like, nah, alcohol. It's just
Yeah.
burnt. If you let a match near your mouth after drinking something like that, it's just boom.
Yeah, it's all alcohol is very highly volatile. Also, if you think about it.
Yeah, true. I mean, I thought the Expedition Stout, the bourbon aged barrel version of my Bell's beers was pretty high, but hey.
They had a 30th anniversary one too. I don't know if you'd ever see it again. That was years ago. If you ever see one that's sitting on the shelf, you should pick it up because that was amazing.
Oh, the bourbon aged barrel Expedition Stout that I bought last year. I still see some of that still sitting on the shelf. I'm almost have to pick that up to add to my cellar because I've got like 2.5 packs of that sitting in my basement right now. So, and that's last year's edition. So,
it'll be interesting to see with Bell's, since Larry is no longer there, the new people who took over, if they're going to go the same way he did or introduce new beers under that umbrella of his, different ones.
Talking about that, I mentioned that in my videos where I've done Bell's beers. And, I hope they don't change a thing. I mean, with the beers that they've already got, I hope they don't change a thing. If they come up with new stuff, okay, fine. I'm all open to trying new stuff. But, I mean, what you've got in the past that works, please leave that alone, Bells. Please leave that alone.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure anything that sells, they would continue to make. So I don't think you have to.
So, I mean, I'm just going to say this. I just don't like it when companies buy other companies and they start making these instant changes to stuff,
So it's going to be known as new Belsum. No.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, anybody that's watched my channels knows that I do a lot of Bell's beers on my channel. So, hey.
I like this stuff. And we've only gotten Bell's beers here probably in the last 10 years. We haven't always gotten them, but we have gotten them for a while. So Carp carries Bell's. No longer carries Founders though. Does carry.
Well, guys, you want to go ahead and wrap up the
you
live
can wrap it up.
show here?
I think miscellaneous might come on after we're off the live.
Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, we had a lot of great comments for a spur of the moment kind of thing. We had miscellaneous, Jay Terrio, Commerce Ozzy, Kyle made an appearance, Josh Last Beer, King of the Dots, Chaz, Eric Thompson Metal, Robert the Whiskey Scout. Yeah, so good chat today. Great panel, some good hoppy / salty beers today. Enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Thanks for joining kind of last minute. I appreciate it. So yeah, that'll do it for this examination of the semi-sessionable hoppy / salty brews. Hope everybody out there has a great rest of your week, and we'll see you here all in the next one. Until then, cheers, everybody.
Everybody take care.
Cheers.